Welcome to the New School Real Estate Pod. This is a podcast for real estate agents everywhere who are looking to start from scratch or relaunch their business. Our goal is to bring you an amazing guest every single episode who will share something that you can implement in your business today. Let's get into our newest episode.
Hi everyone, this is New School Real Estate, and usually, it's Rob doing the intro nowadays, but it's me, it's Gabe doing it. But fortunately, I'm not alone today. Rob's out at a service today, but we have me and Steevie, my awesome guest here today. And I'm very excited for this conversation. It's been a long time coming, so it's something we've been looking forward to for a while, and we're really going to dig deep on her business today. So thank you, Steevie, for joining us today. How are you doing today?
My pleasure. I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. It's been a busy day all over the place, but we look forward to things like this. A quick background. We had to reschedule a couple of times here, but every single time we've booked it, it's out. I'm excited for another podcast episode today. So it's something that makes your schedule light up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we said, you know what, Rob or no Rob today, we're doing it. We don't really care about him.
Yeah, I'd say he's on the wayside, and he'll be a bit salty. Because this is going to be an awesome conversation. He'll be a bit upset. But although this is just me for now, but we have to ask you the age-old question. For you to be on this podcast, you must be an award-winning realtor. So as our qualifier, Stevie, are you an award-winning? Actually, I know you had your award ceremony recently with your brokerage. So this is actually a really good question now for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, does a participation ribbon count? But I guess technically, yes, I am an award-winning realtor. My team just won triple platinum at the last award, or triple or quadruple? I can't even remember. I think we were triple, but I can't even remember because it is what it is. But that's what we just
won. Sounds better. So we'll go for quadruple. It sounds much better.
Okay.
But qualify, you're good. You're good to enter podcast. We don't need to pause anything now, so it's good to go. Cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you for joining today. But so the primary focus on our talk today will be TikTok. It's something that I've come across your TikToks a bunch, and I got a sense of just kind of the content you're posting. I imagine we'll probably dive into other social media platforms, but TikTok is the one that we'll probably ask a lot of questions on, and I think a lot of people are excited as our podcast is called New School Real Estate. So, that's definitely a new school tactic that, isn't, I don't think, highly adopted. So I think we'll dig in pretty deep there. But before we get into TikTok, let's dive in a little deep. Let's talk about your business. Give us the kind of the Coles notes. How long have you been in the business? How have you started? Give us maybe a quick tidbit on what your journey has been so far in real estate.
Yeah. So, basically just my story a little bit is I have been in the industry for about 7 years now, and coming into my 7th year. Basically I started, I've been with Keller Williams my entire career. I had the opportunity to work as an assistant while I was studying to get my license, which was really cool because it actually taught me a little bit about what the industry is actually like and what I can expect and all that kind of stuff. And then I started on my own, joined a team quite early on in my career. It was the best decision that I ever made. I stayed on a team for literally my entire career. It was about 5 years, maybe 6. And then just recently, it was actually through TikTok. Sorry, let me back up a little bit. It was through TikTok. I actually started having the opportunity to do coaching, because what had happened was I kind of blew up on TikTok, and I had so many people reaching out to me, like literally, not to sound like I'm all that or anything, but literally flooding my DMs, asking questions and advice and this and that. And I wanted to help everybody. I wanted to be able to, give advice, but I just couldn't. It would take up my whole day trying to talk to these people. And so I was jumping on calls with some of them because it was just easier and whatnot. And I ended up creating a coaching program out of it. And so I was literally coaching real estate agents all over the world, and just kind of going over their business and giving advice and consulting and all that kind of stuff. And then through that, I had the opportunity to actually start doing coaching at my brokerage with our coaching program. And I just discovered that I had such a passion for that side of things. I love real estate and I love the industry. But sales can be tough. After a while, it kind of gets, it takes a toll on you. And I was lucky that I had the opportunity to explore the coaching side of things. And I just realized that I really liked it. I liked being able to, help others. And just a little bit of background on me too. Before real estate, I had always wanted to be a teacher my whole life. So it kind of translated well in that it made sense. And so anyway, I started coaching, and then the team leader position at my brokerage happened to come up, and I decided to go for it. And I ended up getting that. And now here I am. So now I'm the team leader of Keller Williams Realty Centers. And yeah, that brings us to today.
There's a lot of correlation between teaching and I guess coaching now. And are you doing that full time, or are you still selling as well?
I'm no longer selling, And the reason is, and that's hard to say, but yeah, the reason is because as a team leader, it's a conflict of interest for me to sell. I'm competing with my own agents, and I don't want to do that. Like, I'm here to help my agents grow and develop their businesses. So that is what I do full time now.
I love to hear that. That's good to know in that sense. And I'll be honest, you after a certain amount of time, sales, you're in it. It's a grind every single day, but it's a different type of business. So you're focusing on the important stuff on your end. So that's good to hear. So now we can dive into the fun stuff, TikTok. How did that all start for you? Did it start as something serious? Was it always business for you? Because I know obviously now it's a core part of business. Did it start as maybe something very casual? How was the TikTok introduction for you?
Yeah, it's funny because I was very reluctant to get on TikTok. Like, when it first came out, I had no interest in it at all. I was very much like, I think many older people where they just thought it was that like dancing app for like kids.
Me as well.
And literally had no interest in it. But what had happened was I finally eventually downloaded it. I had it for a while, but never posted anything myself, just to observe. And I ended up realizing like I actually liked it. Obviously, it's literally addicting. And on top of that, you actually learn so much on TikTok. Like, I always tell people I attend the University of TikTok because there is so much to learn on it. So anyway, eventually the reason why I got onto TikTok is because at that point in time, I had already been posting like educational style videos on Facebook and Instagram. That was kind of my whole thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm already doing it on those platforms. Why don't I start doing it on TikTok? Like, there's clearly an opportunity here. Like, it is the new thing. Everybody is all about it. And there wasn't a lot of realtors yet on TikTok. So I was like, you know what, let me just try. I didn't intend for it to blow up as quickly as it did. I think honestly, one of the very first videos that I ever posted blew up, and I got like 2.5 million views on it. And then from that point on, it was just like, I had a following. Yeah.
You would love a Facebook ad to get 2.5 million.
I know, right? It doesn't happen that quick. Yeah.
And the cool thing for me with TikTok is the reach is incredible. And the reach isn't only just, random views. I find everyone's profile so correlated to what they want. I'll be next to a friend and they'll be on TikTok. Our pages can be very, very different based off our interests. And you really don't get a ton of things you don't want to see on TikTok. So the fact that you're getting 2.5 million different people seeing your stuff, that's probably all people interested in what you're doing too. So that's a whole other story, but background algorithm, I find it just so interesting. And I guess that maybe jumps into my next question in terms of how does TikTok differ? Because you mentioned you were on other social media apps when it came to posting educational videos. Is there any core differences that you found with TikTok versus, let's say, Instagram, Facebook, other platforms that you're using at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the biggest difference is kind of probably the most obvious, and that is that TikTok is specifically a short form video app. So there is no option to do photos. There's no feed in that way where someone's going to go and just see pictures of you and whatnot. It's all video. And I think the biggest difference there is that when it comes to, again, we have realtors that are on Facebook and on Instagram, and they use it and they advertise and they do all this, but there's a lot of people that are scared of video. And video is very powerful, but there's a lot of people that are scared of video. And so when it comes to being on Facebook and Instagram, they can do a post if they want to do a post. They can do the typical realtor, just sold, just listed, this, that, whatever. They can't do that on TikTok. They have to get in front of the camera. They have to show their face, their personality, all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the biggest differences is there's no option to do photos. Mm-hmm. It's just video. And then I think other than that, the reach, kind of like what you mentioned, is incredible. I always say, like, when I talk about social media or I do a social media training, I always start off by talking about what each platform, like kind of what demographic you're hitting on each platform. And in my opinion, Facebook is sellers, Instagram is buyers. And I always say TikTok is all opportunity. TikTok is your buyers, your sellers, your investors. Like it's everybody's on TikTok. So yeah, that's another way it's hugely different.
It's interesting too, because like I find with mentioned investors on TikTok, there's a really strong investing community on TikTok. You have tons of people, and that's not even just in Canada, but you'll see tons of different opportunity people just explaining what cash flow is, what different methods are of real estate investing. And I feel like, especially with younger people, it's a whole new opportunity. And at least my sphere being very, very young, I think over the past 2 years, I've had more people ask me for real estate investing over the rest of my life combined. Like it's been a huge shift in learning. And of course, we like to joke and make fun, it's for a younger demographic, but the fact that this younger demographic is learning at a younger age, they're going to, grow up much more educated on that topic in that sense. In going a little deeper in that sense, actually, I do want to comment on one more point. I like how you mentioned with video and getting comfortable with video, because that was something I feel like most people struggle with. Was there a bit of like a tough curve for you to get comfortable on video? Maybe not on TikTok, but did you find that making video content just got you much more comfortable in your own skin, talking to people that, you don't see face to face?
Yeah, 100%. Like for most people, video for me was hard at first too. Obviously it is. It's really hard to like listen to yourself back and listen to yourself talk and just the way you look and everything. Like we all struggle with that. It took me some time to get comfortable on camera. People always tell me like, oh, you're natural. Like you're so good on camera. And like, to an extent, I'll admit, like some people do naturally just have that kind of charisma, maybe more than others. Some have to work harder at it, but like, it wasn't natural for me either. Like I wasn't good on camera to begin with. Even if you go back and look at some of the first videos that I posted on like Facebook, when I first started that educational style content, like I've come a long way since then. And a few pieces of advice that I can give on that note are that honestly, the way that I did it was when I started doing Facebook videos, first of all, I started on Facebook rather than Instagram because I felt like Facebook had a less judgy crowd. Like I felt like it was all kind of, it's older people, it's an older demographic. I felt less judged putting a video out on Facebook, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
So I started getting a little bit more comfortable with that, but I would literally write out, not a script by any means, because I would never follow a script, but I would write out the points that I for sure wanted to hit on at least, so it could keep me on track of what the point of the video was. That made it easier because then at least I had like some direction. And I would always, like, if I were ever going to speak about something to do with like mortgages or something like that, I would always call my mortgage broker first and say, like, this is what I'm going to put a video on. Is this correct? Like, is what I'm saying correct? Just to make sure, right?
Yeah.
That made me feel more confident in what I was saying. The second thing that I did was when I started shifting over to Instagram, I started with stories. I started with Instagram stories rather than posts. And the reason is because they're gone in 24 hours. Like they're gone in 24 hours. If I really hate what I said or look the way I look or whatever, it's gone in 24 hours. The other reason is because I could toss a filter on a story. And I'm going to be honest, like I needed to do that. Like in the beginning, like I would have to toss a filter on my face or whatever, just so that because I would look at it like many people, you look at it and you criticize the way you look what I'm doing with my mouth, look at the pimple on my face. Like you'll criticize it so that you don't post it. And then it never gets posted and then you never do it. So for me, I always say, like, if you have to toss a filter on the video just to feel comfortable enough to get it out and get the message out, just do it. Who cares? As long as the message that you're trying to get out, like you're able to do that. And so that's what I would do. And then once I started doing it, the stories, so many people would start engaging with me and being like, oh my God, like this is so helpful. Like, thank you so much. And yada, 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 which got me more comfortable doing actual posts. And then, yeah, by the time I was on TikTok, like I was already comfortable with it. Like it was it was easy. Yeah.
It was a good time for it to come in. And I was looking for something to touch on your point of bullet points. It's exactly the same thing I do. You have 5 points you want to hit and you'll take time and do it. With time, it feels a bit more comfortable, but
yeah,
I think the biggest thing was just to start. Like just start, and once you get going, you're going to feel much better about it. It's the first one's always going to be the most tough. So the next question I wanted to go on was when you're making now, let's say present day, when you're making content on TikTok or other social medias, is your focus to go viral or is it strictly to provide value long term? Because I know, at least on my mind, and Rob is what we talk about it a ton, is you want to make evergreen content that people will always be able to use. But I think there's also value to going viral and getting a ton more eyes on content. How do you typically get content when it comes to video platforms?
Yeah, so definitely both of those things. And I have, so it started for me purely of just wanting to provide value. That is what the core of it always has been. That's what it started with on Facebook, with Instagram. On Facebook and Instagram, I can tell you my intentions were never to go viral, like ever. That was never even a thought. Once it happened, and even when I posted my first video on TikTok, it wasn't a thought either, but it did. It did go viral. And then from that point on, honestly, and it's kind of bad, like it's kind of toxic, but my mindset has shifted between the two many times. Like there have been times where I've been posting specifically with just wanting to go viral. Like every video that I do is with the intentions of like, this one's going to take off, this one's going to go viral. And it's not good though. It's because when they're not hitting, because TikTok's weird with the algorithm, man. Like it's not consistent. It's really weird. And all the time I have videos that don't do well in views and whatnot. And so it started getting hard when like I was putting so much work in. And it was so weird because with TikTok, I would put so much effort into one video and it would get like barely any views. And then one video that I felt like I looked terrible in, I wasn't even ready for that day. I tossed up a video really quick to like answer a question. And then that one would go viral and I'd be like, what the heck? And so anyway, now I'm back at the point now where I just try to put out value to people. And if it goes viral, it goes viral. Great. There definitely is value in that, but the value for your followers is better long-term.
Yeah. It's always the 5-minute ones that take a quick video. Those always are the ones that go viral. You just don't expect it to. It's odd. I'm exploring the platform a little bit. That's what I'm finding too. But I imagine the way I'm looking at it is consistency with time. That probably is a better long-term feel of it. You mentioned very briefly that the platforms with different clients. Just touch on it again. What kind of clients are you finding on TikTok? Are you more finding? I know your team, your focus has shifted now to more recruitment, I imagine, and training and coaching. Are you finding the clientele that you're looking for on TikTok? Is it more of like a passive touch point that you're looking at, or are you actually having conversations through TikTok with people, real life leads, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So the clientele that I get from TikTok, yes, I do actually get business from TikTok. And the clientele that I get from TikTok is, I'm not kidding you, all opportunity. I have gotten a buyer from TikTok. I've gotten listings from TikTok. I have gotten also, I've connected with other realtors that are now at my brokerage from TikTok, and coached other realtors through TikTok, as well as I have built up a good referral business through TikTok as well. I literally just got a referral fee the other day. All I did was tag someone. Someone commented on my TikTok being like, I'm in this area. I'm struggling to find a home. Like, I wish you could be my realtor. Like, is there any way that you can like work in this area? And I was like, I don't, but so-and-so does. Connected them and they actually did a deal together. And I get a referral fee from literally basically just tagging somebody on TikTok.
It shows the reach. Like I don't know, where was that located? Was it in Ontario as well?
Yeah, so it was Ottawa. So I referred them to the West team. Shout out to the West team. They're another Keller Williams team. They're with our sister office out in Ottawa. And so like the girl told me where she was. I said, I don't work Ottawa, but the West team does. And I tagged their team leader. One of their team leaders, Rochelle. And and that's it.
That's awesome. That's such a cool story. It just shows how kind of, how many different avenues you can kind of go with just that one platform.
Yeah.
I want to mention, I saw on your Instagram that you were doing, I'm going to call it Ignite training, but basically for people who are not Keller Williams agents, it's basically your intro. It tends to be for newer agents that get into the business. Ignite also works for a couple years in the business, but it's a really awesome, I took it. It was an awesome training. And I saw you were doing it on lead generation. How has your training of lead generation changed? Or do you very much focus on social media, or are you very much like, I love social media, but there's other ways that kind of complement that type of lead generation as well?
Yes. So my response to that is yes to both things you said, because right now for me, I am 100% social media. And because I'm in a different role now, I still lead generate, but I lead generate for other, like to get other realtors now, but I still lead generate. And for me, it's been pretty much 100% social media. However, as a real estate agent, social media, I think, is fantastic. And I think it is so powerful. And I think you can do it as a sole form of lead gen, but I think it's even better when it's complemented with other forms of lead gen. I think in general, everybody should have 3 sources of where their lead gen comes from. I think they should have 3 pillars. That is the strongest foundation for your business. And so for me, my business was actually built on door knocking, and social media came later. I always use social media, but I didn't use it the way that I use it now. I wasn't purposeful about it. So yeah, I think social media is great. It's powerful. You should use it, but I think that you should also use other forms of lead generation too.
Exactly. That's a good way to look at it. I always look at it as it's a good complement. So you have people always say, at least the way I saw it, oh, you need a website. I'd be honest, I've never had a website in my life. It's never been a focus of mine. I feel like social media is your new website where if people want to search you up, you're there and you have that really good sphere there. That's how I always looked at it that way. When it came to, so you created, we can look back in your past business and your current business for this one. When it comes to building a business off of social media in general and TikTok and Instagram and all those different platforms, how would you say it's a different type of business versus a different real estate agent who does, I don't want to say just old school methods, but how does it differ from the standard real estate business that we think of? Is there a different type of day-to-day stuff that you do? How does to dig maybe even deeper, how does your business differ when it comes to talking to clients? One thing maybe you can touch on, I remember I went to one of your trainings, mentioned virtual door knocking. That was a really cool thing, how you went about your day-to-day stuff. So maybe if you touch on that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it does differ. It's so funny. It's like same, but different, like it's, that's kind of the way. So basically when I lead gen through social media, my day is very similar in the sense that I time block for lead generation. And at the end of the day, what is actually lead generation? Lead generation is talking to people. That's what it is. So when I do it on social media, and again, this is just for anyone else who is trying to, tap into social media, lead genning through social media is not just about posting on social media. It's not just about being active on social media. That's only one piece of the puzzle. Because if you're doing that, but you're not actually having conversations with people, you're not really doing anything, to be honest. So you have to actually talk to people and have direct conversations. So what I do with social media is I reach out directly to people. I'm having DM conversations with people. I'm speaking to people. And one of the avenues that I do that with is through what I call virtual door knocking. And what that is I literally will go down my friends list on Facebook or my following list on Instagram or whatever, and I will just DM people. So the same way I would go to a street and go door to door, I go on my Facebook list and I go name to name, right? And I just DM people, and the same script that I would use or the same conversation I would have at the door, I have with them on social media via DM. Now, the powerful thing about this and why I do this and why it works is that because when it comes to door knocking or to cold calling, what like the kind of old school methods, when you go knock on a door and nobody's home, there's a misconnection that day, right? And same thing with when you call someone and they're at work that day and they don't pick up their phone, or they see your phone call, but they can't pick it up because they're at work, that's a misconnection. You didn't get to speak to that person. With social media, I can send off a message and they may ghost me, like they may not answer me, but like my message and my contact info is always still there waiting for them when the time does come or when they're ready. Or they're at work, they can't answer my phone call, but they maybe can quickly shoot me back a text or a DM. Or when they get off of work and they're at home at dinner that night with their husband and they're talking about real estate. Oh yeah, like Stevie messaged me today, like I'll get back to her now. Like they can get back to me. Mm-hmm. It's easy for them and it's an easy connection. So that's one of the reasons why social media is so powerful when it comes to lead generation.
Yeah. I think the really cool thing about it too is I talk about this a ton of being a local celebrity in your sphere. So everyone has their own following. Everyone has their own kind of group on it to Instagram or TikTok, for example. The cool thing about it is for your, let's say 1,000 people you're following, you're their celebrity and you're their group. And you can really create the clientele that you're looking for. A lot of times, I talk to people about what type of client do you want to work with in the future? For example, young professionals, people living just in Yonge and Eglinton, for example, just throwing it out there. You can be very purposeful with the people you're messaging and create that ideal client, which I think is so powerful because you really get to choose where you want to work, who you want to work with. And the people that, organically follow you are probably going to be people who, associate themselves with you, which is also really important.
Absolutely. I always say that social media, that's sorry. And thank you for bringing that up. That's another reason why I always say about social media is it's such a great way to attract your ideal client. And again, I always use this example when I talk about this, but I always say to like agents and stuff, like how many of us have gotten a client from door knocking, cold calling, like whatever it is, an online lead that just comes in, and you go sign that listing or you do that buyer consultation or whatever. And in that short time that you're sitting with them, whether it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, you think everything's going to be good. You get along, it's good. You're going to move forward. You sign the listing. Come to find out, they end up being like a nightmare client, like not a fit for you at all. And it doesn't end good for anybody, because even if you get the job done and the deal's closed and everything like that, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to refer you. They're not going to, it's not good. And it's hard for us to know that though, when we just meet people, like, when we only have a brief interaction with them before we start working with them on a really intimate thing. Yeah. And with social media, exactly that. These people follow you. They're obviously attracted to something about you, your personality, what you're all about, like whatever it is. And a lot of the time they end up just reaching out to you, right? It even saves you, because you just posting on a daily basis is some of that lead gen. And they've already made the decision in their mind that they like you. They want to work with you. You guys are a good fit. And yeah, you really honestly end up attracting a lot of your ideal clients. Some of my best clients that I have actually created like friendships with came from social media.
It's the coolest thing, because they don't know you, but a lot of times a cold Instagram follower thinks, they get to know you through your posts, and they really become, like a social media friend, because in their head, they've spoken to you so many times. So when you first interact, it's like, oh, wow, it's such a breath of fresh air, because, they're curious and you're curious about so many things. And even I would say on a smaller scale, because my business, I would say is a little bit on social media. I like to have it and I like to post on it occasionally. But when I consider my group of people, I like to consider myself not a local celebrity, but when I talk to people, they always ask me, how's real estate going? Because they see that you're consistently on it. And they know, even if they're not consistently interacting with you, it's in the back of their head. He's doing real estate and he's there to help people. So it's been a fun kind of journey this year, exploring it. And that's why this podcast is so cool, because we're going to have a lot of fun just kind of picking people's brains and learning more about people's businesses when it comes to real estate and how to grow it further. But and here's our last and by far my most fun question, because it's one that really makes people, not on the spot, but makes people think a little bit. You said you were in the business for 7 years, right?
Yes.
All that goes away. We don't know anyone that you've ever met for the past 7 years. You are now a new real estate agent, and you have to, got to make some money. You got to get back in the business. What would you do right now if you were starting the business from scratch to build your ideal business?
Good question. Very good question. I would work my sphere of influence the most. The sphere of influence, I did not look at my sphere of influence the right way, which I find most agents do not when they first come into the business. This is a conversation I have quite a bit as well. Everybody thinks your sphere of influence is like your immediate friends and family, but it's not. It's your friends' friends. It's your friends' parents. It's your friends' aunt and uncles. It's so many people that are just one person from you, and you all have a connection. It's the barista you get coffee from every day. It's there's so much. And I would tap into that a lot more early on, as well as social media. I would start social media earlier and more purposeful, like from day one is what I would do. And I would not have created a business Instagram page. That is one of my biggest regrets when it comes to social media. I wish I never separated my accounts.
Okay, good. Because that's something that I've had debates with people about creating two different accounts. I feel very strongly what you said. I feel you have to combine your business and your personal, because this is a personal business. It's not something where you want to be disconnected with. So I feel very strongly with that. So I'm glad that you put a lot of ends to that. So
I've learned on that one for sure. So the catch-22 about that is when it comes to Facebook, for example, if you want to do a sponsored ad, you have to have a business page.
Yeah, it's tough.
So it's hard. But on Instagram, my biggest regret was creating a real estate page. I wish I just kept it all as one.
Yeah, I find that it's just people want to see you. And again, the one kind of feedback that I get or I hear from a lot of agents is, I have an Instagram account where I'm going to post all my listings and my solds. And to be blunt, I follow a ton of people who do that, and just it's never going to be very interesting. But if you can put your own personal flair to your just solds and your just listeds, it shows a lot more. It's a lot more interesting versus, oh, you sold a house, great. There's something about having that personal touch to everything you do, which I find is golden. And I've been exploring a ton this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the problem is for me is that I've made my business page. It's a good mix between personal and business. But the thing is now I've just got 2 pages that I'm like post, and it's just annoying. Like it just sucks. So yeah, thank you for that. So yeah, anyone listening to this, I personally urge you, unless, and I understand this, unless you are someone who maybe, has kids or something, and you really want to keep certain aspects of your life private or whatnot. Like I understand that, and that's fine, because that's like totally up to you. But I would say don't create 2 different pages. And honestly, people want to see your kids. People want to see your family. Like they want to see like your hobbies. They want to see all that. So if you're comfortable sharing it, don't make a business page.
Yeah. Keywords of advice. And then we're going to end it off with that. Anyways, Steevie Soucie, I said Steevie Soucie, right? I mispronounced that?
Soucie.
Soucie.
Yeah.
Soucie.
Yeah.
Steevie Soucie, we appreciate you a ton coming on the podcast, even though it was the 3rd time to get you on. We're not going back and forth no more, but I think this conversation will be hugely valuable to the people listening. And if they want to get in contact with you, how can they do so?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can add me on any, social media. I think I respond best on Instagram. My Instagram is Steevie_KW. Facebook, you can search me Steevie Soucie. TikTok, I'm at Steevie Soucie. Please follow me on TikTok. I'm trying to break a follower count that I've had forever, because I keep telling people, I swear I'm shadow banned right now. So please follow me. Help me out.
I got to see right now. I'm not even, I don't know if I follow TikTok. Is that bad as a host to miss that?
Yes, it is bad. You have to fix that right now.
With the goal to get you back on, I'm going to have to give you a quick follow now to look. Steevie Soucie. What's that? Let's see. 96,000. So you're trying to hit 100,000.
I've been trying to break 100K. I've been in the 90s. I can't even. So riddle me this, okay? This is where TikTok doesn't make sense, because I have almost 100,000 followers. Yet right now I'm struggling to get like 3,000 views on some of my videos. It's like, even if only just my followers saw it, it should be at least like 50,000 views. And I can't get anything. So I'm like, what the heck? Like nobody's seeing my stuff. So
it's the weirdest platform. Honestly, I'm super curious with it, but it's the weirdest platform. A bit of me actually likes Instagram because it's more consistent with what I get view. Like it's sometimes like I'll get like it'll be sometimes less or more than, it's like a good murky middle, and I'm comfortable with that. Like people see it, and that's the way I do it. But anyways, thank you again for coming on the podcast, and I look forward to future conversations that we may have. And maybe we'll get you when Rob's back sometime in the future. We'll talk about something else. But thank you a ton for coming on today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So that's New School Real Estate. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and take care, guys. Bye.
And that's the end of our episode of New School Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in and listening to all the great value that our guests had to provide today. Hopefully you can take away one thing from what we spoke about and apply it to your business and truly make it new school. If you are a new or growing agent looking for some supports to grow your real estate business, feel free to reach out to Robert or myself on social media. We'd be happy to have a conversation. But until next time, make it a day and stay busy, my friends.